Yene Professor Lord Mensah Dinkomo. Na yenjine thoughts where a senior lecturer at University of Ghana Business School. Yenjine thoughts on His Excellency the President's statement to say the decision on IMF can be blamed on government. President Akufo-Addo and Kasa Semnum. Prof, good morning.
Yeah, good morning, Sammy. Your phone has me watching.
Na impumbo kode eja.
Nyamiado. Make sure one can check.
As a prof is here, the my imagine say boy in film. Prof, yenin komo. Amampani make a categorical statement be I say the decision to go to the IMF ni yentimi blame government. We economist, we finance person. And you be a honey bit me blaming this and a ban we are.
Oh, Sammy, it is an unfortunate statement from the president. The reason why I make us is in economics, the there will be risk, which is the possible exposures. As all manage the economy, you should anticipate some of these possible exposures. Usually, so you measure a good performing economic manager. These exposures are making what you're categorizing into two. You want control over it, which is most of them being in house, like at the issue of Ghana. Who's at the issue of Ghana? Yeah, and yes, Kakran a bit me apprentice, and as a bit me increase taxes, yeah, so what's our problem? The most of the time, economics, you engage economic management on those indicators because they can easily be solved. I want to be solved, you can defer it and then later on be shared. But if I did to me in control to say external shocks, which is your friend is saying, Ukraine war, any COVID that buy it, I don't you don't have control over it too. I mean, those ones are things that as a manager you can't do anything about it. But usually, if we want to assess you as an economic manager, whether you are doing well or not. We use this how you manage the country through the shocks that you can't control to assess your ability, whether you can manage you manage the economy well or not. Those are the things we look at. So if you look at Ukraine war, all those external factors the president mentioned are measures, are things that he hasn't got control over. But the thing is, how did we manage the country during this level? Sammy, let me tell you point blank. We would have gone to IMF, whether Ukraine war or what we call it, COVID, because the trajectory that we were moving in terms of our expenditure, which was not making impact on the economy, everything was directing to the point where we would have ended up with the IMF. Just that, and aligned it. Just that the Ukraine war and then the COVID has come to speed us up to IMF. We were slowly going there, which could be somewhere around 2024. Maybe it might not be his government that would take us to IMF. But the Ukraine war has come to expose the weakness in our economy. The COVID also came to do the same. Because an economy that hasn't got buffer, that you can talk about your buffer only for 4.5 months. You're only talking about sometimes it was even 3.5. It was even 3 months.
Yeah.
If you sent it to 4.5 months, it became a political, kind of achievement. Which at the end of the day, how could you give freebies, right? Freebies, electricity and water for more than 3 months when you know very well that your economic buffer can only last for 4.5 months. So effectively, it has to do with management. Now, if you talk about Ukraine war, I mean, clearly, we've gone through the portfolios of import and portfolios of, export that we do with Ukraine and Russia. I can tell you that if you net them off our import and export, we can still survive in this country without, blaming Ukraine and all those external factors. So from where I sit, nobody is saying that the Ukraine war wouldn't have had impact on the economy. Ukraine war is having impact on it's a global thing. It's a global thing because globally we are recording inflation. But then if you look at the numbers of inflation, it tells you that there was something wrong with our economy uniquely. Because your neighbors are not doing that much of inflation. If you look at other indicators, it tells you that our economy was not really prepared for any external shock any external shock. So this external shock has come to us, move us, speed us to IMF. So for me, well, that is a statement anyway, but I can tell you that our economy was moving in a trajectory where we would have ended up in IMF anyway.
Prof, the issue of the depreciation of the cedi, the issue of inflation, Raymond, you read a paper that said end of year would be around 43%. The issue of inflation, how do we address them since no hope seems to be at the end of the tunnel, regardless of the fact that the information ministry came to tell us as a result of some 2 billion injection into the economy, we are going to see a stabilization or a better performance of the cedi against the dollar.
Sorry? When you time, I'll bet me about my office. Now, I know what plot it, a better graph, a better bit technical. A graph now. Because you see, from independence, forget about the currency changes, there should be a different money at the free. Clearly, you could see the cedi to the dollar is always going up. But up now, you will wiggles be more about within the year. So, this is I want 2 billion, it's just an announcement. 2 billion. The announcement sends signal that, okay, after all, there is a buffer or there is enough dollars. So even if I would demand it the next 3 months, I don't have to go for it now. Even if I would need it the next 4 months, I don't have to go for it now because we have buffer. So anytime I would need it, they can provide it. Now there are so many factors that are moving, the city in that direction. Because I can tell you every year, the city crosses a marginal, a district. So for instance, this year, a Wobber 10, next year, a Kobe 11, That is how it is. If you look at it carefully, the cedi to the dollar will be 11 Ghana cedis per dollar by next year. The next year, it will go to 12 cedi per dollar. So clearly, there's a structural upwards, direction. Your friend is here. But in between the year, you pump dollar kakra, cocoa syndicated loan, now you make an announcement. Naba, a home kakra, that was your Tumia control number from Kakebi within the year. And as you know, I appreciate it because of the announcement and then inflows BIS, but I'm telling you that by next year, never cross it to 11. So there is a structural problem. And so we may have to look at the structural issues with the city. And the Biano make us say, in problems are when it comes to inflation, when it comes to the city depreciation and all those, they are all on papers. Their solution, it be a 1D, 1F. Solution, it be your friend is planting for food and jobs. It do be some solutions. Our solution is that. The solutions are there. Clearly, because if you look at planting for food and jobs, now, we still are importing rice. And as a policy maker or as a politician who is implementing policies, you are not able to tell us for the past, 6 years, the expenditure that we've made on planting for food and jobs. Now, when to me in China say, as a result of planting for food and jobs, you are producing rice to the level you're reducing rice importation by 70%. If you can't tell me that, then I tell you that you failed in your policies.
Prof, and the paper say we Jimber now needing come on.
You miss me that was it. Some one moment we castle.
And if I become home, fetch me. Minimum show land. Fetch me.
Then I can tell you that you have failed in your policies.
Okay.
Now, if you talk about exchange rate, I mean, idea you import exchange. The only way you can control exchange rate is to increase your export and then reduce your importation. When you talk about 1D, 1F, at this time, no, we should have gotten to a point that Rebecca said, okay, fine, because of 1D, 1F, no, you stop the importation of toothpick. Because of 1D, 1F, no, you stop importation of chicken. You stop your crown, you to me catching by, maybe 60%. Let me give you a typical example. Kenya, yesterday I was reading, I even tweeted it, did an irrigation, program. And the irrigation that they have done, the projection is that this irrigation is going to reduce their rice input, but they will get, farmlands under water. Rice now they are going to reduce the importation of the furniture and rice by 55%.
Okay.
I mean, this will go a long way to save their, Kenyan shilling. Can we boast of such a thing in Ghana? We're doing one dam, one village, one dam, supply water to the farmers, for the farmers to get some water to drink. And the animals should get water to drink, so that we can produce more cow and stop importing meat, and stop, importing maize, and stop importing rice. I mean, all these things would have built up into control of the exchange rate, and at the same time, control of the inflation. Because the cap inflation, food inflation is the one leading the whole thing now. So, now, in inflation now, Bank of Ghana, a monetary policy committee, almost increase policy rate now. Policy rate increasing now, they are just catching up with inflation. Because at that point, the investment appetite no better form, because inflation was rushing interest rate now. At the end of the day, so or the interest crana 8 minutes at the paper. And on vanity capital contraband. It is our increasing policy rate now. If there are banks now, more excess liquidity now, and come with the better your friends and dollar net the pressure about dollars. So almost now catch on with the increasing policy rate. So if you increase the appetite to come and invest with the central bank in through treasury bills near the other, so that you can mop up the excess liquidity with the banks, so not individuals. I mean, not individuals, because businesses and individuals don't have access to funds. Liquidity is a problem at that level.
True.
So that policy only works at the top. That is from the Bank of Ghana to the banks. Because banks in deposit on now come on find share treasury bills. Sorry, I'm on find share treasury bills instead of some of the better dollar go on. Let the pressure about dollars. It's at the end of the day, that is what the policy works on. But the fiscal side, how do we spend 1D, 1F, planting for food and jobs? You cannot spend the woman. How does it build up into controlling inflation, controlling food inflation, controlling what do you call it, importations? Be control exchange rate in the money normal. So effectively, all these things are things that we need to look at. And if you ask me, sir, when it's a solution apart from the the injections that we get on short-term basis through cocoa syndicated loan, I have a control within the year. Structurally, we should change the economic structure, and that should be able to help us solve this CD to the dollar problem.
Prof Anapemedwasi. Professor Lord Mensah, economist, or also a financial analyst, University of Ghana Business School. You know, thoughts I would